So again, I first flash a slide containing the approvals of the 2024 unprogrammed allocations, where we see that the NEP, the GAB, and the Senate approvals were consistent. They were the same. However, after the bicameral session, it was increased by 449,000. Billion pesos. And I think this graphically represents the source of the legal issues that are now being raised today, specifically whether the unprogrammed appropriations are constitutional in themselves, whether there are certain guardrails according to the Constitution for unprogrammed appropriations, and whether it can be implemented the way that it has been implemented in the past. So before I continue, thank you for your compliance that you submitted last Friday. You submitted the complete SAROS, including a summary of the releases of the SAROS, and you also added a procedure in your Annex K for the approvals of the SAROS. And we thank you for being so transparent. I think this is an expectation of all government institutions. Just to clarify, all of these are public documents, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
So as I speak, and with the permission of the Chief, all your compliances, including the submissions of the Amici, are now or have been uploaded even before we entered the session hall, so that the public may go to the public pleading section of the website of the Supreme Court and download so that they can follow or they can do their own analysis. Again, thank you to government for being so transparent. But unfortunately, some of us lacked time. From Friday to today, my team has been working overtime together with me to do a full analysis, and we are going to ask very specific questions, sampling on the data that you have provided. But I am sure that my colleagues will go further than where I will go. First, let's look at the procedure for the release of the SARO. You submitted in Annex K of your compliance a document entitled The General Process Flow on the Release of Unprogrammed Funds from the Unprogrammed Appropriations, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. However, in paragraph 2.2 of your submission, there is mention of the general funding sources for 3 categories. This is from your presentation, so we are projecting your Annex K. There are 3 categories: budget support for GOCC or BSGC, loan proceeds of foreign assisted projects or FAPs, and others not in the prior 2 categories. So we are showing paragraph 2.2 of Annex K. I note the entry in your Annex K where you outline the procedure that if the request is subject to the availability of excess or new revenue, the availability of excess new revenue must be ensured. Correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
So reading your presentation in Annex K, does this require the certification from the Bureau of Treasury of the existence of excess or new revenue prior to the actual SARO?
Yes, Your Honor.
So you confirm that for every SARO, there must be prior to that a corresponding certification by the Bureau of Treasury, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And just to clarify, did you submit on behalf of your clients all the corresponding Bureau of Treasury certifications for the SAROs of 2024 and 2025?
It is my understanding, Your Honor, that they submitted, and also in our briefing, the certifications from the Bureau of Treasury, although not corresponding to specific dates, but they have a system of asking for certification on the available funds and therefore they will know, they will have the information if they could already issue a SARO?
Because my understanding was for every SARO, like for example, there is a SARO that released 69 billion from SAGIP, that there is a corresponding certificate coming from the Bureau of Treasury. Am I correct?
Not one-to-one, Your Honor, if I may explain. When we ask DBM, so it's like they periodically, they have a system of asking the Bureau of Treasury for available funds. And they monitor it, they track the available funds. And when the agency requests DBM for the SARO, then they would know what is the available balance of certified by the Bureau of Treasury.
So you agree with me that the issuance of the SARO in 2024 started as early as February and March, coming from unprogrammed funds?
My understanding in the briefing yesterday was, I think the first disbursement was in May, if that is my recollection, and if I may ask my team for confirmation, Your Honor. In 2024, okay.
Okay. So looking at the certifications for 2024, as you mentioned, it is not really prior to every SARO, but it is aggregated. And
Yes.
looking at it, so flashed on the screen, and this is in Annex J of your compliance for those that would want to examine it. By the way, I assume that the petitioners also got a copy of the compliances. Okay. Now for Annex J, so if you see the certifications here, it is mostly coming from PhilHealth, PDIC, Philippine Health, etc. And on the next page, again, there are dividend collections, etc., income from government deposits. But other than PhilHealth, the certifications coming from dividends started September, and the interest income started September, November, etc. Is this accurate? Because it's in your Annex J.
Yes,
I
yes.
suppose it is accurate.
Yes, Your Honor.
Then in September 17, 2024, there was 30 billion as a result of the upfront payment for the NAIA, Public-Private Partnership, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And there was canceled letter of credit also in September, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And then importation duties, etc. Correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Would you know the total of these certifications?
I don't have the figure, Your Honor. I may, if I may ask my team.
Yes, it will be relevant later, so kindly ask your team to start the computations, unless you have it now. $377 billion. Do you want to borrow our AI agent to compute?
Your Honor, thank you for the patience. In my document, it is 396
Yes.
billion 989 million 182,236.26.
So our expectation is that the total SARO coming from unprogrammed funds should match this Bureau of Treasury certification, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. We will see that later. But I noticed in the 2024 submissions, most of the certifications were from PhilHealth and PDIC under paragraph D, correct?
That is correct, Your Honor. And so that's why also DBM was telling us when they were briefing about the 2025 and 2026 that those will not be found.
Okay. Now, for 2025, it is a bit different because your submission is shorter. In other words, I only see 1, 2, 3 certifications. One in November 3, the second November 18, and the last one November 18. Am I correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And this totals only 102,277,458,303.18 centavos, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
So these are the certifications for the releases of the SARO for 2025, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Can you tell us what was the earliest SARO in 2025?
May I confer with my team, Your Honor? The earliest in 2025 was July, Your Honor.
July 2025.
Yes.
Again, I'm confused. Because in your presentation in Annex K, the procedure is that DBM wants to ensure that there is a excess revenue or new revenue before they release from unappropriated funds, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And the certifications from the Bureau of Treasury only came in November, correct? But the SARO started to be released, July, correct?
May I confer, Your Honor,
Yes.
with a DBM representative?
Perhaps the certifications were not complete, or
Your Honor, if we may suggest to ask the DBM representative to explain the detail, if it pleases the court.
what do you mean in detail?
The DBM representative is explaining that there was a certificate issued and that there was a superseded certification.
Okay. Can you ask her to take the podium?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Next to you.
Next week.
No,
Right.
next to you.
Okay.
So you can advise her in case she violates her right against self-incrimination. Please go ahead. Can you introduce yourself and your position?
Your Honors, I am Attorney Andrea Celine Magtalas. I am Acting Assistant Secretary of the Department of Budget and Management.
Okay. Go ahead.
The BTR certification dated November 18, 2025 was actually superseded certifications issued dated May 14, 15, July 28, and November 3, 2025. So the first being May 14, Your Honor.
What do you mean superseded?
There was a subsequent certification issued after the first four were issued.
Yes. Can I confirm with you the total amount in terms of certifications for 2025?
It is 202,277,458,303.18.
Okay. The conditions for the superseding can be covered in the memoranda to be submitted by the Solicitor General, but we would really appreciate if you submit to us even the superseded certifications. But I do note that the total of the certifications for the new or excess is 102 billion, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
For 2025, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And for 2025, it is only non-tax revenues, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because in 2024, it was both tax and non-tax, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in 2024, this was unique because ever since the beginning of time, but let me just say, from 2000, which is what we studied, it has always been non-tax revenues, correct?
Yes, Your
Only
Honor.
in 2024, there was an addition of tax revenues. Excess tax,
In the
correct?
provision, Your Honor.
Yes, okay, thank you. Thank you, you may take your seat,
Thank
and
you.
welcome to the court. So again, let us look at the triggers in the 2024 and 2025 General Appropriations Act. It does say that there must be some assurance that there is excess revenues. Okay, so Solgen, have this been followed?
Yes, Your Honor, by virtue of the process of asking the Bureau of Treasury for the certification.
Okay. In the process that you mentioned, as soon as there is excess revenue, this is now a basis for the DBM being requested to issue the SARO to actually issue the special allotment release orders, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. Is there anything in the procedure which tells DBM that the excess revenue should be first spent for programmed appropriations rather than unprogrammed appropriations?
No, Your Honor, because for the programmed appropriations that are in the GAA, most of the appropriations, the general rule is that the allotment order is already the GAA itself.
No, I'm not talking about the allotment order, not the document allowing the release. I am looking at where the funds are coming from. So let us again go back to our points last meeting or the last day that we had our oral arguments. We said that even with the program funds, programmed appropriations, there will always be initially a deficit, correct?
May I clarify your
Okay.
question, Your Honor?
You said that the budget of expenditures and sources of financing, the BESF, which is in the NEP, already assumes a deficit, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes. And you said that that covers the BESF and the NEP only covers program. In other words, there is a ceiling there of expenditures, and your position is it only covers program, correct?
The BESF covers the programmed and automatic appropriations, while the NEP covers the programmed and unprogrammed appropriations.
So in other words, the BESF already contains a provision for deficits, correct? 24, 25, 26.
Correct, Your Honor.
So therefore, because it does not cover the unprogrammed, there is always an excess of programmed expenditures over expected income, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Now that we have new or excess revenue, and according to you, with new and excess revenue, there is nothing in the process that you mentioned to prioritize the program where there is a deficit, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes. And in other words, the DBM can prioritize standby because that is how you characterize unprogrammed. Can prioritize standby rather than the regular.
Your Honor, may I clarify
Yes. Yes, please.
how the DBM does it?
But first answer my question. So DBM can choose to fund first the unprogrammed before the program.
Your Honor, no, because the sources of funds for the programmed and the unprogrammed are different. So for example, if in a source of funding,
Yes, of course they're different. But according to you, in programmed funds, so there is already a listing of expenditures, but the BESF, the budget of expenditures and sources of funding, which contains the program already assumes a deficit, which means they assume that the sources of revenues are not sufficient to cover the expenditures. Now, given that, and there is new or excess expenditures, you are now saying that there is nothing in the procedure which tells DBM, unahin niyo ang program bago tayo pumunta doon sa unprogram. Unahin niyo yung regular bago tayo pumunta doon sa standby kasi ang ibig sabihin ng standby ay kung sakasakali lang merong pang extra, correct?
Okay, may I clarify, Your Honor, because there is usually a confusion as to what the sources of funds for the unprogrammed appropriations are, which could lead people to think that the source is a surplus. And the surplus is the revenues minus disbursements. We are not, the sources of funds for the unprogrammed appropriations is not a surplus. It is the excess in the total revenue that has been committed in the BESF or in any of the item, which is statutorily provided in the GAA.
I think you need to clarify that more in your memoranda. I did not get the sense, but it is very simple. There is a deficit, so all the funding that are projected by DBM and accepted by Congress is insufficient to fund expenditures. Then later on, the Bureau of Treasury says, hey, there is excess revenue. And the excess revenue, according to you, can go to unprogrammed because in your Annex K, which outlines the procedure, there is nothing there which says that the DBM should first check the priorities of the President and Congress as shown in the GAA because they are saying programmed is programmed, unprogrammed is unprogrammed, and therefore it should go there first. But let's move. So that we do not spend more time. I'm sure that my colleagues will have more pointed questions relating to that. Now, what is for later release? What is this concept of FLR?
The for later release means that there are
is
documents.
that in the law? Is that in the law?
Maybe not in the law, and my team can correct me, but I think that this is in the regulations of the DBM.
In the regulations of DBM, okay. Last session, we were enlightened that the entire GAA, at least the program section, is already the authorization, correct?
In most, that is the general
Yes.
rule, Your Honor, because, for example, in 2024, I remember that the figure that the GAA was already the allotment order covered like 85% of the programmed appropriations.
So, in other words, for later release refers to certain items where there are conditions that need to be met before it is funded, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Yes, but if there is no condition, then it cannot be for later release because that is already authorization, correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
And because there is a deficit, in other words, there is extra, there is insufficiency of the revenue being projected, then therefore there will be a time that there can be new revenues or excess revenues. And because most of it are not for later release, then these extra revenues should be used for program, correct?
Your Honor, so when the DBM tracks the sources of funding for the programmed appropriations, so each source of financing will have a target. So let's say 1 billion from the GOCCs.